Hi, welcome to my channel, Phenomenal Lifestyle. Let's get into it. Coronavirus. I was preparing and collecting information and researching to release this video a few days ago, and I thought I was ready to record, and then things just kept happening so fast. So you'll get a little bit of information that I collected last week with an update of what happened in my city with coronavirus yesterday. So now where we're at is, well, last week I started, but I went to Costco. I started not hoarding, but shopping and preparing. So, the toilet paper, the tissue, the disinfectant, bulk products. I went to Costco, laundry detergent, oh my God, seasoning, oil, rice, beans, the staples, things like that. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna get all my staple stuff, snack stuff, crackers and some candy, some granola bars, things like that. And then I said, I'll wait, and then I'll go to the grocery store and get meats and fill the freezer and things like that. And some canned food, even though I don't like it, some frozen food, just stuff, just in case, right? So did all that. People were like, oh, you're overreacting, even though stories just kept coming out in the news. The number of new states, the number of new deaths, what the increase of deaths in other countries. So now Italy has basically totally shut down, closed off their borders. They're trying to contain it. Oh my gosh, it's spreading everywhere. When it originally got to Georgia, it was said there was a father who had recently traveled to Italy come back, and he had given it to his son. And there wasn't too much panic because his son was homeschooled, and this was in North Fulton County. So Fulton County in Georgia covers Atlanta, but it's a long county. There's North Fulton and there's South Fulton and part of Atlanta in the middle. So that happened in North Fulton. It wasn't too much talk about it, things like that. They're being treated and all of that. But as of yesterday, it hit South Fulton. Not just South Fulton, it hit the city that I live in. So what happened was I got a phone call from a friend yesterday, and she said, did you get the message, like the audio message from the county? I was like, no. So basically, two schools in my neighborhood and one additional school, 2 cities over, were evacuated. All children had to leave the school by like 1:45. If not, they were putting the kids on the buses and sending them home. There's no notice, nothing. So there was a panic, and they didn't really release a lot of information. They said, they didn't say who, they didn't say what, but what the connection was with the schools or anything. So a little bit of time passes, and this is a small area, and I have friends with kids in all age groups. So there was a high school evacuated, a middle school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th in Georgia, and an elementary school. And we're trying to figure out, well, why all 3 of these? So after a few phone calls, I found out exactly which school it was, because they're basically the middle school near me. Actually, one of my kids went to Bear Creek Middle, had a teacher to have a medical emergency on Friday, meaning he got really ill at school, at work, and they called 911. So at that time, they didn't know anything. They just thought he was having a medical emergency. I don't know what that means. Usually that means you can't breathe, it's something serious for them to call 911. He didn't leave on his own. An ambulance came. So that was Friday. So yesterday was Monday. And if you think about it, it takes 3 days for their test results to come back. So his test result came back positive for coronavirus. And the school just went into a panic and released everyone at that school. There's a high school directly across the parking lot. They released everyone at that school. And then it come to find out it was a male teacher. He also taught at Woodland Elementary, which is, like I said, 2 cities over in East Point. So they evacuated that school. But then it became a domino effect. So now, again, we have all of Fulton County. So now the announcement comes out. All of Fulton County is out on Tuesday, which is today. All after-school activities, which was last night, canceled. So we had no baseball games. We had a few scheduled. And they were actually makeup games because it's been raining so much. So with one phone call, I called a friend who asked her daughter, who goes to Bear Creek Middle School, like, what happened on Friday? Did any, first of all, I asked, did she have any male teachers? Because I found that out through there was a medical person that did a press conference. So he slipped and said he wasn't even supposed to. We knew it was a staff member. He said it was a staff member. It wasn't a student. So we knew it was a teacher. And he slipped and said he a few times. So now we knew it was a male. So that one friend I called asked her daughter, do you have any male teachers? She was like, no. Then she asked her daughter, well, did any, what teacher left by ambulance on Friday? Oh, Mr. So-and-so. So I know exactly who it is through that friend and her daughter. And so my next natural question was, what race? Because that's been an issue. Black people have been joking, for weeks. Oh, well, no one's black has gotten it yet. We're immune to it. Black magic, all that. It sounded funny at the time, but guess what? He's brown. I won't say he's African American, but he's brown. So it is not immune to race. It's a virus that spreads. We know they reported through droplets. So your mucus, so when you cough, when you sneeze, and then it lands on things, they're saying it can stay alive for days. So that's where the no touching stuff comes in, and then touching your face and your open, crevices, your nose, whatever, and then having it get into your system. So, oh my God. So when I went to Publix, they're now limiting. There were some supplies. The first things to go, obviously, are the disinfectants and everything like that. Your bleaches, your sprays, your cleansing stuff. But they had a sign. They're now limiting the amount of supplies you can buy. So that I guess everyone gets a fair shot. But stores are really running out of things quick. So now, the people that laughed at me and said, oh, you're overreacting, things like that, I don't know how long school is going to be out. I'm sure they're scrambling right now. They said they're going to take today to clean the schools. I don't know how you even ask a person with coronavirus, where were you? Because now they're saying not only did he come into contact with his students that he taught, he was a greeter at the school, meaning when the kids get off the bus in middle school in the morning, when you drop them off, he's shaking hands and hugging and greeting and making sure the kids get off the bus, go straight to class. He's talking, and all of that. So there are a lot of people at risk that have come in contact or were near him. And, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be released today, what they're going to say. I don't know what community this man lives in because, now that's at compromise. I don't know if he has a family. Now they've been compromised. And, they're telling people to self-quarantine, when you're around someone with it, for 2 weeks. Or how many of you are prepared to do that? I think I have enough supplies to do that now, but I'm not sure just what kind of impact would that have. The school sent out in Fulton County an email last week saying that all foreign field trips have been canceled. So like if you have a club that you've been paying payments on and, planning for an end of the year trip, let's say a Spanish club going to Mexico or, a club, wherever trips, international trips. A lot of seniors do that, juniors do that. Those have all been canceled. So they're talking about how to refund parents. They also said that on a case-by-case basis, they're going to review any field trips involving where kids would go into an enclosed space that has 1,000 or more people. So that's a lot of places. That could be a lot of places. So now we're looking at potentially canceling field trips, possibly school, because even in that email, it said that if you provide a medical note from a doctor saying that your kid has some type of, immune deficiency or disorder or are susceptible to getting sick easily, they can actually opt out of going to school right now while all of this is going on with the doctor's note. So I guess then go to school from home with their devices. Fulton County does give all students devices in which to log into school networks and receive work and things like that. But oh my gosh, daycares are now closing. It's a lot going on. There's a couple of other things I want to stock up on, and that's ammunition. In case of home invasion. I mean, I just can't imagine if everything closed, what people might start doing. What if grocery stores close? What if people stop showing up to work and they have to close? What if banks close? What if Just, your everyday stuff. Just think about if everything closed around you, places that you go on a daily basis, what kind of impact they would have. Now the NBA is discussing, throwing around the idea, they haven't made a decision yet, on playing games with no crowds. Because again, large building, thousands of people, enclosed space, no windows, no fresh air, all recycled air. And LeBron has already come out and say, I'm not just an athlete, I'm a performer. If there's no crowd, I'm not playing. So that's up in the air. And what decision they're going to make on that. Something else happening. Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune have come out and said we are going to start filming with no audience, which isn't such a big deal. They don't pan to the audience a lot, but it is a big deal. Broadway has tickets on sale because things are declining. Airlines have tickets on sale, but who wants to fly? I have a friend that just got back from Mexico, and I told her, you can't come over to my house for a couple of weeks. I said, because we need to see if you have some symptoms, like you just came from out of the country and through our airport, which is international, that country's airport, and come in contact with all kinds of people. So, you need to monitor yourself. I actually had her call the hospital to see. I was like, can you call, since you just traveled out of the country and went through these airports, can you call and get a test since you were maybe at risk? And she said when she called the emergency room, and I actually think she called the emergency room where this teacher is, because there's only one emergency room near us, and it's one I've used all the time. And they told her that you can only get tested if you have symptoms. Not even if you think you're at risk because of whatever contact you've come in with, multiple people and things like that. So they refused to test her. It's scary. I don't know what they're going to do, because now all of these students, they have to contact each of those families that were his students or who may have come in contact with them. They need tests. Are they going to allow these students back in school? What if school opens tomorrow? Because they say they're closing the schools today to clean. How are you going to first ask this teacher to trace his steps? We don't even know how long he's had it. If he's had it to the point past the coughing stage to where he's passed out, that sick to where an ambulance had to be called, how long has he had it? How's he going to trace his steps for the last weeks throughout the entire school? And how are they going to clean every surface if it stays alive for several days? It's a big deal. I hope everyone's taking it serious. And I know soap and water is great. I know, all that. And that's fine when you decide to wash your hands regularly and, wipe surfaces down and things like that. But everybody's not doing it. And that's the problem. It's not what you're doing. It's that everyone is not doing it. I went to a restaurant last week, and a man across from us sat down, and he sneezed. And when I say it was a big sneeze, and all he did was turn his head. So it went, you could see the spray. It went all over the seat and the table. And then he just turned around and started eating again. No one saw it but me. So now you got to think about that. When you go and sit in at a booth, who sat there before you? And are they just wiping the table down? Are they wiping the seat down? Are they wiping everything down where that spray went? You can't track it. You can't track it. You can't see it. So it's pretty serious now. I'm going to spend today. I took the day off. My son's out of school. I'm waiting to hear what the governor's going to say and all of that. And I'm going to disinfect my house today. Disinfect my house and come up with a plan. Trying to follow this leadership, but you hear so many different things. So what are you doing for Corona? Comment below. Tell me some of the things that you're doing to prepare, and has it hit your city yet? Because it's all good watching the news and people say, just wash your hands. All the memes, just wash your hands. Just use soap and water. It's all good until it hits your city. So what are you doing? Let me know.